was just a story.
And it doesn't matter whether the story is true or untrue.
What matters is if the story holds truth.
Does the story make one change?
Well, the way she thinks.
The way he acts?
The way they treat others.
Does the story make one change? Deep in the desert,
there sat a small village.
And in that village there lived a small tribe. The tribe would sing its traditional songs day in and day out. As they did their chores.
As they fetched water.
They would sing their song of the desert. Everyone in the village was very happy and content with their desert-dwelling lives.
In the morning they would wake and begin their song until nightfall.
When it was time to let the desert sing her verse. The wind would sweep up the sand dunes and make the most beautiful music.
The tribe in the desert sang the same melody.
And no one knew whether the tribe learned the song from the desert or the desert learned the song from the tribe.
This was their song for as long as they could remember.
And nothing could change that. Tradition was tradition. But there was one boy in the tribe named Tico.
Tico was a well-mannered boy.
With a very big heart.
He did his chores every day.
And quickly, too.
But this was because he wanted to go spend the rest of the day wandering the desert.
Tico was wildly adventurous.
And extremely curious.
And one day, while Tico was wandering the desert, he spoke to the sand. I love my tribe. They're my family, and I love the song of the desert, but I can't help thinking that there must be something else out there. Different songs, different people, and animals. I mean, this is a pretty huge world, the elders say, and I've only ever seen sand as far as the horizon.
At this point, the desert's wind swarmed as if to reply.
But the desert could only sing in response.
I love that song, and I always will, desert, you know that. But part of me thinks that there may even be a place without sound, a land without a song, waiting for someone to come along with a new song, a song of his own. I dream of it.
The desert did not sing in response.
Nor did the winds increase.
And as Tico walked back to the village that night,
He felt a strange shiver shoot through his spine.
He decided tomorrow he would leave.
And when he got home, he filled a small bag with a canteen,
Some fruits.
And some sand.
A small handful of home.
The next day he rose before the sun.
And started his journey to see the world and find his own song. A few days into the journey, and Tico was in a whole new world.
Instead of sand and wind,
He was surrounded by trees.
these trees had vines growing from branch to branch, tree to tree.
The forest floor was littered with critters of all different shapes and sizes.
And colors and songs.
some of which Tico liked.
And some of which he could have gone without. The song of the dung beetle was a little off-putting. But the song of the forest was absolutely magnificent and, well, not at all like the song of the desert. Across the mouth of a cave, densely curtained with ferns and hanging vines. Well, he was going to pass it by until he heard a different song, seeming to come from within the cave. So, Chico pushed aside the overgrowth and entered. He followed the enchanting melody deeper and deeper into the darkness, leaving the sunlight. The cave was dark, but Chico kept on. He followed the song until finally, before him lay a giant beast singing in his sleep. The most surprising thing was that this monster was glowing. A deep purple light was emanating from the fur of the beast, and, well, Chico assumed this a feature to help him see in dark places. Oh, he wanted to talk to this great creature. So he began to sing along. Bum, 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 bum. At first, the beast seemed calmed by the accompanying voice.
But at once was startled, awakened to a fighting stance. His voice bellowed. Who stands before Glowback and sings his song?
Chico was nervous. He never meant to upset the beast, but immediately realized how stupid he had been, assuming a stranger would understand his intentions.
Who has entered Glowback's cave? Challenged the beast.
Oh gosh, the beast's eyes were now wide open and staring, but not at Chico. The monster's great white eyes seemed to be searching the room. The beast was blind! My name is Chico, sir. I didn't mean to bother you. I was enchanted by the song you sang. As Chico spoke, he could see the beast listen, for whenever Chico spoke, the monster's glowing body would pulse with color.
This is Glowback's cave, Chico.
Well, I just needed a place to rest, sir.
This is not Chico's cave, Glowback. This is not Chico's cage.
Oh gosh, his back was becoming a dark red. Well, Chico tried to calm the beast. I come from the desert, a beautiful land, but I went to see what the rest of the world has to offer. Glowback's nostrils left for 2 tiny flames.
You want to see the world? The beast was stomping its many feet. Is Chico playing a nasty joke on Glowback? Chico knows Glowback is blind and plays a joke on him in his own home.
No, sir. I just want to experience the world. I want to taste the fruit and smell the flowers. I especially want to hear all the great songs the world has to offer. Your song was absolutely beautiful, Glowback. The red of Glowback was getting deeper and deeper.
Blood red!
And Chico knew he better think fast before the beast scorched him into ash there on the spot. So, he did for him what the village elders did for Newport back home. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum.
Glowback's father taught him that song when he was still a very small Glowback. No bigger than you.
Well, it is a most beautiful song, sir. I'm glad I've heard it.
Why has Chico left home? Is he escaping war?
No.
What brings him to the Wavering Wood?
Wait, is that where I am? Oh, it's wonderful here.
He has never heard of the Wavering Wood?
Never. We don't talk of anything but sand.
Sounds boring, remarked Glowback as he rolled over, adjusting his position. Speaking nothing of sand.
Oh no, there you're mistaken. Sand is the most wonderful friend. Hard as a rock, but soft as a feather. And when the wind blows over her, she sings so beautifully.
The desert song cannot compare with the music that plays in these woods when the wind blows through her. An old song for sure. Maybe the oldest.
Not as old as the desert.
Is Chico calling Glowback a liar?
No, I'm sorry, Glowback. But how long have the Wavering Woods been here?
Since long long before the age of the great bird and long before the age of Glowback.
Wait, I'm sorry, the great bird? This was the first time Tico had heard of such a thing.
Tico from the desert has never heard of the wavering wood, and Tico has never heard of the great bird. Tico must come from the desert for sure.
well, we have other folk tales, legends even. Well, I bet you don't know about the Waterbringer.
Waterbringer? I can't say I've heard of that one. Tell Glowback the story.
He turned a bright blue and seemed ready to listen. Well, Tico was amazed that this monster that just moments ago made him feel so unwanted was now asking for a story. But Tico wanted to be his friend, and, well, he knew that sometimes people are mean only because they're scared. And, well, maybe Glowback had been frightened of Tico, despite Glowback being so much bigger. Legend tells of a great drought when even the underground water ran dry. My people were dying of thirst, and so they sang the song of the desert all day and all night, praying for a miracle from the desert herself.
Well, did the miracle come?
Not at first, but the people of my village kept singing and kept singing until their voices went silent. Then the desert herself began singing the song louder than the whole village together. And late one night, the stars in the sky began to dance and multiply, the night sky bursting open. And then a blue meteor sent from the sky hit the sand dune so hard that a sandstorm started, the harshest and most brutal one they had ever seen. Then, the elders say, out of the spot where the blue rock fell, a great geyser came shooting towards the sky!
What about the sandstorm?
Oh, it just stopped.
Wow. And the geyser, is it still going today? Glowback question?
No, it is. It's where we get our water since days of old.
What? We have no stories like that one.
You do. You speak of a great bird. Who is he?
He's not like Tico's Waterbringer. He does not exist.
Oh. Well, to be honest, I don't think the story of the Waterbringer is completely true.
Glowback is becoming confused.
Tico knew he was telling the truth because the blue from earlier was fast becoming a pale yellow.
Tico told the story as if it were true.
Well, of course I did. That's what you do when you tell a story. It makes it better.
No, Tico lied!
I didn't lie!
And if Tico can so easily lie about his geyser-forming Waterbringer, then he might lie about why he is even here! Why is Tico in Glowback's cave? No more lying!
Tico knew he would have to tell the whole truth to gain the beast's trust. I'm on a journey! I didn't run away from home for any other reason than that I'm curious. I'm looking for a special place. Glowback had been turning red fast, but this information seemed to have put a slight ribbon of blue down his spine.
What kind of place is Tico searching for?
This was the bit of the story Tico was afraid to reveal. His palms became sweaty and his face became cold. A place without sound, said Tico carefully.
Glowback was silent and still. Why is Tico looking for this place?
Tico was nervous. It seemed as though Glowback knew of such a place. I want to make a new song of my own and leave my mark on this world.
Tico should not go there, warned Glowback.
So it does exist.
Tico speaks of the soundless place as if it were his celebrated geyser in the desert.
The soundless place. This feeling now had a name.
It is not special, and it's not worth seeking. Tico should go home. He should ever forget he ever left.
This idea that had just been a dream was now real.
Glowback was anything but happy.
Making his dream seem more like a nightmare. What do you know about the soundless place, Glowback? Why are you so afraid? Glowback at once became a bright red and flame erupted from his nostrils.
Go away from here, Tico! And do not mention that place again! Glowback shot fire from his mouth!
And, like mortar from a cannon, Tico was shot from the mouth of the cave, high above the canopy of the wavering wood! worried.
If Tico had hours to think of how to avoid his peril,
He never would have thought to do what his body did naturally. So he began to sing the desert song.
But not how he had ever sung it before.
This rendition sounded more dire.
and for some reason, it worked. Because he was caught in midair.
He was saved.
And as he floated a body's length above the trees,
He tried to figure out exactly what was carrying him.
He looked below him and could see nothing but tiny specks of light.
Then, slowly and carefully, the specks of light carried Tico below the tree line, deeper into the forest.
The group moved at a steady pace.
dodging tree limbs and gliding through hollowed-out tree trunks with ease.
The forest was growing darker and darker.
Until Tico couldn't see anything but the specks of light below him.
Then, slowly and carefully, an orb of light appeared in the distance and grew in size as Tico was brought closer.
And as they neared,
Tico heard a song that filled him with a peace the depth of which he had never felt before. Where am I? Tico asked no one in particular.
the darkness of the wavering wood.
His stomach was in a knot as a slight shiver of fear crawled up his back. Why is it so dark here?
The trees are so tall and thick here, no light can squirm through. Why do you fall from the sky?
Tico was scared. What was this thing talking to him, and where was it coming from? Usually his ears would tell him which way a voice was coming from.
To his right,
To his left,
Above him,
But his ears were telling Tico that this voice was coming from between them both.
this voice was echoing from within his own mind.
Who are you? Questioned Tico.
I know who I am, but I don't yet know who you are.
Oh, I'm Tico. I come from the desert.
The desert is a long way from here. Did you fly all the way?
Oh, no, I can't fly. He didn't know how to phrase it. Thrown.
You are Tico. You come from the desert, and you were thrown into the darkness of the wavering wood.
Yes, sir, Tico calmly affirmed.
Sir, I am no sir, Tico informed the voice.
Oh, I apologize, madam. I meant no offense.
And none was taken. However, I am not a madam either. There are beings among us that are not so easily defined. You are on a journey, no?
I am.
To learn?
Yes, I want to see what I don't know. The voice said nothing at first. It seemed to Tico that the voice had left him, but its presence could still be felt.
Slowly, the specks of light carried Tico all the way to the floating orb in the distance.
And it was at this point that Tico entered the giant orb of light. But what he found inside was not what he expected. What from afar looked like a single floating presence, Tico now realized was actually thousands, millions of the specks of light that had caught him earlier. They sang their song like a choir of angels. Who are you? Tico asked the specks of light. Hello? Hello? Thank you so much for catching me. You really saved me back there. But still, there was no response.
they cannot hear you.
But they are not deaf. They listen to your spirit.
This really threw Tico for a loop. Wait, they hear my spirit?
You sound calm.
That's funny because I don't feel too calm, Tico lied.
Your spirit is calm. It was not earlier.
Oh, you mean when I was plummeting to my death? Good call, he snarked. I mean, what are these things?
These things are my followers. They go where I send them. They are called the Illuminati.
But most of your kind call them
Torchflies.
Torchflies? I've heard of torchflies.
Yes.
I believe even in the desert you have seen their presence.
Why do they follow you?
Why have you left home?
Like I said, I want to learn what I don't know.
And it is for that same reason the Illumini follow me, Tico. They can hear your following early. I sent them to catch you.
Well, thank you very much. Tico paused, not knowing what to call the voice. What is your name?
I go by many names.
Names.
Where before there was nothing.
There is now a great golden bird with unfurled wings.
Casting light into the darkness.
Of the wavering wood. Well, the great bird looked like what Tico would have called a toucan with its long, colorful beak.
Except this bird had golden feathers and was twice as large as Tico.
Just looking at the bird filled the boy with wonder. Oh, you are the great bird! Glowback told me about you, but he said you didn't exist.
Yes, many creatures of the forest believe as your friend does. I do not show myself too often.
But why? You are absolutely beautiful.
I do not hide myself, but I live here, in the darkness.
Why?
Because it is in the darkness where light is most needed. And it is in the darkness where creatures are most afraid to wander. You have told me you are seeking knowledge, but I have a feeling there is something else you seek. Something you are not telling me.
Yes, great bird, there is something else I'm looking for. A certain place.
The great bird moved closer to Tico as if to look deeper into his spirit.
This place you seek, it isn't friendly, is it?
Well, it isn't exactly unfriendly. Tico fibbed, remembering Glowback's response to this topic. This place is more of a legend.
I think I know the place you seek. A place without music, a land without song. You seek the soundless place, do you not?
It seemed as though they were connected through a deep, ancient magic. Well, I just want to see it. Is that so bad?
Tico, I have only one goal in this world, and it is to shed light wherever it may lack. The Illumini have joined me to bring this goal to fruition. My followers have assisted in many of your world's disasters, from the swamps to the plains, all the way to your desert. I have sent them in all directions, and they always come back, singing and telling of the places they have gone. And that is one of the most important qualities of the Illumini. They always come back.
The great bird took a sigh before continuing on.
The only followers who have never returned are the ones I sent to the soundless place. That is the only place I refuse to send them. I do not trust that place. But I do understand why you seek it. Human curiosity is one of the strongest forces in this world, and the fellow that comes between man and his endeavors is doomed to fail.
What are you saying? Tico was worried.
I do not support you going to that place. But getting in your way would be folly. So I have no choice but to help you.
Will you take me there? Tico was ecstatic. The great bird was going to show him the way.
I will not go near that place. I fear it, as I believe you should. But I will take you to a man who knows more about it than you or I. In this grove, you will make a choice. I can take you to the mountain, or I can take you home. You must decide your fate. But you must decide now, and you may not change your mind. The day is ending, and you will not survive a night in the East Mountains alone. So,
The great
What?
bird looked directly into Tico's soul.
what do you want?
What was he supposed to say? He wanted to see the soundless place. He wanted to meet this man on the mountain. He wanted to leave his mark. But he also wanted to see the desert again, too. He wanted to see his friends in the village and and hear the desert song on the dunes he wanted so much. And the great bird made him feel as though he may not ever see home again if he went further on his mission.
Do you like flying, Tico? I love flying. And every bird I've ever met or seen fly in the majestic heavens of the sky has loved it as well. All of them happy to fall and trust the wind over and over again. That's all flying is, really. Trusting the wind, but also trusting yourself. Because the first time a bird flies, he has to fall from his nest, never knowing whether he will have it within him to trust the wind. Not until he falls from his nest can he learn to fly.
The great bird stopped.
Take me to the mountain. Not knowing what made Tico say that, he stood on his own 2 feet and announced with steel reserve, "I want to meet the man on the mountain."
The choice was made.
Tico felt a fire burn within him, the likes of which he had never felt before. For the first time in his life, he knew he was on the right path.
You have been lucky so far in your journey, young one. The creatures you have met have sought to help you on your way. Not every beast will be as kind.
Believing that maybe the great bird forgot that Tico was shot out of a cave, he asked, "Did you forget that I was shot out of a cave?" Glowback was not the friendliest of creatures.
Glowback is harmless. You brought up a sore subject with him.
The soundless place?
Yes. Not every creature is as you do. Some might say that you are hard-headed to be moving in his direction. You must be careful, Tico. In this land, you are the foreign creature. You do not belong here, and some will see it as their job to remind you of that fact. Do you understand?
Tico thought for a moment. Yes, he shivered.
Do not be scared, but do not be foolish.
Some light was still shining on the highest peaks of the world. As they flew higher and deeper into the mountains, Tico noticed that they seemed to be centering in on a separate peak that was separate from all the other mountains. Looking down, he saw that a dense blue fog carpeted the valley, surrounding the mountain, making it seem more of an island in the middle of an ocean.
The great bird moved closer and closer towards the peak, and then began to descend.
Here it is, Mount Alisnai.
Then suddenly, the great bird released Tico from its grip and let him fall into the lake.
Tico had no time to think as he submerged, getting a good gulp of lake water.
He plunged to the depths of the bottomless lake.
Tico's body was shocked by the cold water.
But his body began naturally pulling him towards the surface.
Swimming was as foreign to him as flying.
The closer he got to the surface, the harder it became to swim.
The harder it became to open his eyes.
The harder it became to breathe.
Tico's body became limp as he floated towards the surface.
Tico was suddenly and jarringly scooped from the water and set into a small paddle canoe.
My, you're a big fish, exclaimed the old man in the boat. You'll feed me for a fortnight.
Tico was gasping for air.
He was cold and shivering.
The thank you was all he could get out.
I haven't seen another person swimming lazy like in years. The old man in the boat went on. Who are you? What's your name?
Tico, sir.
Well, Tico, it's nice to meet you.
The man was old and had a hunch in his back, but Tico liked being around him. This man made him feel comfortable, but confused at the same time. Finally, Tico quoted, "How long have you been waiting for me?"
Well, I guess one could say I've been waiting my whole life to meet you, Tico.
The old man smiled.
as you have been waiting your whole life to meet me.
The old man's eyes twinkled.
Where are you from?
The desert, sir.
Ah, a beautiful land. Let's see.
The old man furrowed his brow.
As though he was trying to remember something old and dusty from the back of his mind.
Then, much to Chico's surprise, the old man began singing the song of the desert. Chico was filled with warmth, and there in that small boat began to dry.
That's better. A little bit of desert heat to dry you off.
Thank you so much. How do you know that song? Have you been there?
Yes, long ago. I'm sure it has changed much since then.
The desert changes every night.
Yes, you are right. That it does. And it would appear her people haven't changed in the slightest.
I didn't get your name.
Oh, my name is Aramis. And I'm glad I was fishing here when I was. These waters can be dangerous.
You're telling me I felt so sleepy.
Yes, lazy lake will do that. Put you right to sleep. One sip of this lake water can make a bear hibernate in summer.
But is that true?
Of course it's true. How do you think I can fish in this lake without a pole? These fish are always tired. They just fall asleep and I can reach in the water and grab them with my hand.
Well, that seems rather unfair.
Unfair? What's unfair about it?
Well, the fish don't even get a chance to fight the hook or the line. You don't have to worry about bait. There is no strategy or skill.
And what does a boy from the desert know about fishing?
Well, I know from stories. I know how brave fishermen are. I know that it takes patience and will and a steady hand. But you fishing in this pond isn't fishing at all. It's unfair.
Tico, speaker for the fish. He announces him endowed Tico with a royal title. Woo, what is fair to an old man and what is fair to a fish are two different ideas altogether. But come, we must speak why you are here.
Chico was not comfortable with how quickly Aramis shrugged off the matter of the fish. But he was right. He was on a mission, and here was the man who could help him. I came here to ask you about the soundless place.
Oh.
The light in Aramis' eyes began to flicker.
Tico had struck a nerve.
And he knew it.
You come from the desert in search of the soundless place? A fool's journey. He began to paddle to shore.
Aramis was a surprising man, to say the least. At first he had filled Tico with such warmth, but now he seemed nothing more than a cranky old man, spouting opinions for anyone to hear, adhering to nobody's rules but his own. Thank you for saving me, Aramis, but if you won't help me, then there's nothing more for me to do than leave.
The canoe struck land, and Aramis began to get out. Do not mistake an old man's tone for a young boy's warning. Come, follow me. The two walked around the lake. Come on. You must still be tired from all that lake water you drank.
Aramis moved slowly down an obviously well-trodden path.
Which led to the cliff's edge where Aramis nodded for Tico to sit.
The view from here was breathtaking.
Tico sat at the top of Mount Aulesnai and looked at the rest of the East Mountains.
So far, he had come from the desert.
But he did not feel far from home, not one bit.
The two sat for a moment on top of the mountain.
Feeling nothing but the breeze.
Aramis interrupted the silence, wasting no time. What takes you to the soundless place?
Tico was getting a little tired of answering this question.
But knew that Aramis was asking for a reason.
I want to make my own song, a new song. I know the soundless place exists, and I'm going there to leave my mark on this world. I won't stop until I do. Tico held nothing back.
Do you know the difference between the hero and the fool?
Aramis furrowed his brow, but did not look at Tico. Instead,
he stared across the sky while he spoke. The soundless place is very real, Tico. Scared so. It is not a good place, as I'm sure you've been warned. And yet, like a fool, you keep on searching. With every sign telling you to turn back, you instead decide that you can't read them and move forward with harder steps. You take the path of the fool. It is the path you have chosen in your own stubborn mind. And you will not be satisfied until you are dead in the soundless place. And there, in the soundless place, you will lie, breathing your last breath with nothing but the sound of your own heart beating for the final time.
Aramis stood up and looked over the edge of the cliff.
Tico was tired of the old man's scolding.
Your life may be done, but mine is not. You may be old and grouchy and have given up on everybody else, but I haven't. Maybe you're right. Maybe I should have stayed home. Maybe it was foolish of me to come this far, but now that I have, it would be doubly foolish of me to give up now, and that is what you suggest. Oh, Tico was growing angrier. The air is thin up on this mountain and not good for thinking. Your mind is old and your warnings are hollow. Stay up here on this mountain with your opinions, but don't pretend you help anyone by doing so.
Aramit's voice struck like a spear. You know not of what you speak, Tico. Look!
Tico joined the old man.
Looking down into the dense blue fog that he had seen from the sky earlier.
There it is.
Aramit's voice was matter of fact.
The place you see, there it is.
Tico couldn't move.
There it was. He was above the soundless place. And still he felt so far.
I have learned most every song this world has to offer. Daily I come up to this mountain and I sing them off this mountain in hopes that they may fall into that abyss. I did not come up this mountain to run away, Tico. I came up here in hopes of healing that rotten land below us.
Tico looked at Aramis with fresh eyes.
This man has dedicated his whole life to healing the soundless place.
Trying to restore the silence with the world's music.
So far he had been unsuccessful.
But that did not mean that his time was wasted.
Tico felt bad for losing his temper.
I'm sorry, Aramis.
Aramis went on as if he hadn't heard this apology. Do you remember the difference between the hero and the fool?
No, sir.
Both the hero and the fool stand against insurmountable odds, with everyone telling them to turn back. When the fool does turn back, he is reprimanded for having attempted such an impossible feat. When the hero returns victorious, he is rewarded for being so courageous in attempting such an impossible task. The difference between the hero and the fool is the hero is the fool who succeeds. Now go, Tico. Succeed!
And with that last word, Aramis
Aramis
pushed Tico off the mountain.
Tico was falling and falling fast!
The mountain was tall, so the fall was long.
But as his plummet brought him closer to the blue fog,
Something strange began to happen.
The pure density of the lack of sound
Which was deafening.
started to slow him down.
and as he descended, he fell.
Slower
And slower.
Until he gently landed in the heart of the soundless place. He thought he would feel excited.
But they were all right.
This was not a happy place.
The soundless place was terrible.
No breeze.
No animals.
The soundless place was barren.
Silent and still.
He felt lonely, so he began to sing the desert song.
Except when his mouth went to sing the melody.
No sound came out.
Nothing.
He tried to scream and yell.
But
But
still,
still,
nothing.
Nothing.
What would he do?
How would he get out?
What was keeping the
No
sound?
sound.
How would he get out?
How would he get out? No sound came out. What would he do? How would he get out? No sound came out. How would he get out? No sound came out. What would he do?
What would he do? No sound came out. No sound came out.
blue silence was so dense that he couldn't see through it.
Would this be the place where Tico would die?
So many people told him to turn around.
Go home.
But he didn't listen.
Arabic was right.
He was a fool.
And this was the fool's prize.
A lonely death in the soundless place.
How do you fix a land without music?
What was keeping the sound away?
Tico, he never realized how comforting ambient noise could be. And if he ever got out of here, he would never take it for granted again.
He reared his head back to scream out of frustration.
But still, no
No
sound
sound.
came from his mouth.
He began to wander.
Just Tico, the fog, and the silence.
He couldn't tell how long he walked.
A place
Outside of time. But at some point, he saw a bright blue figure in the distance.
He moved closer.
And as he neared, realized it was the boy from his dream.
The blue boy looked at Tico.
And Tico the boy, as if they were both staring at their own reflection.
He wanted to ask the boy about his dream.
But still, nothing came out.
The blue boy sensed Tico's frustration and put one finger to his lips.
Then tugged on his ear. Oh, he wanted Tico to hear something.
Tico focused harder and harder.
But he couldn't hear anything. All he heard was silence.
And then
Tico realized it was the silence that the boy wanted him to hear.
the blue boy smiled.
And so did Tico. The blue boy then tugged on his ear a second and final time.
Reminding Tico to listen.
The song of the soundless place was the song of silence.
Arabic.
The great bird.
Glowback.
All of them were afraid because not one of them had cared to listen to the silence.
Tico had come to leave his mark.
To make his own song.
Now that he had heard it,
He couldn't change it. It was perfect silence. And he wanted to share it with the world.
The blue boy was standing in the middle of the fog with his arms outstretched towards Tico.
And Tico stepped in to join him.
Sending his feet into the blue boy's footprints.
merging one into the other.
And finally, joining his destiny.
They became one, and they began to morph and transform.
They grew very tall and their arms grew long, reaching towards the fog.
Their feet dug deep into the earth, forming roots so deep that it connected every land on earth.
Small white leaves grew from their fingertips.
And began to absorb the fog into themselves.
Destroying the barrier, dividing the soundless place and the world of music.
An explosion of silence spread across the world in an instant. And for one perfect moment, the world stopped and listened.
Tico had become the tree that shared the silence.
And to this day,
He stands as guardian, protecting the silent place.
Protecting the song of silence. Spreading its limbs.
and welcoming anyone to the once feared,
Now
coveted,
soundless
soundless place.